Hey, yo, everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. Video games. I love video games. Period. I am a hardcore video game player. I've been playing video games since, before I could remember. I mean, video games are one of my favorite things to do. I love them to death. And recently I've been playing so many video games and buying so many video games that I thought it'd be only cool to do a video showcasing my video game collection. Now, a lot of you are probably going to say this is probably just a video for me to put up and show off my video game collection. Well, you would be right. I want to show off my video game collection, and I want to share with you guys what kind of games I play. Because a lot of people ask me what games I do play, and I can't list them all off in just one response. In addition to that, this also gives me a chance to give my opinions on some games I like, some games I don't like, and even some games I haven't played yet. Which brings me to some of the things. One is not every game in my video game collection has been played. The reason for this is because I bought so many games recently that I'm a little backed up on video games. But Mrs. Cutter, my girlfriend, is going to be going away for 10 days with her family on vacation, so that gives me ample enough time to play these games. That is more than enough time to play these games. Second thing is, some video games I don't have on certain systems. For example, Ocarina of Time, I don't have it on the N64. However, I have it on the GameCube, so there's really no point to have it on the 64. Other than the fact that it's the greatest fucking game of all time. So, you'll see certain games like, Resident Evil be on the GameCube rather than have it on the, the PS1 when it was first released. The next thing is that not every video game that I've played is going to be in my video game collection. Throughout the years, I was young and stupid and I sold games, or I got rid of games, or I given games to friends. So I'm not going to have every game in my collection. However, I'm going to have most of the games that I love to death. So with that said, the order of games that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my older games, my SNES, my N64, and my handheld games like Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy DS. And then I'll go on to my GameCube, my Wii, my Xbox, and my 360. So with that said, let's get started. Start off with the SNES. I've been buying a lot of older games too. Oh, and if there's a game I haven't played yet, I'll tell you what the game is. Let's start things off first with Super Mario All-Stars. I bought this in the next game off my friend, and Super Mario All-Stars is just a gift to everyone. You get 4 Mario games, Mario 1, 2, 3, and the Lost Levels, which is really Mario 2. With our Mario 2 is like, Doki Doki Panic or something like that. But you get all the Mario games that you need. On this, you can save. It makes the game so much more tolerable and so much better. So, Super Mario All-Stars is an essential for anyone who has an SNES. Great games. And the graphics are just updated and are so beautiful. Next would be Super Mario World. I love this game. One of my all-time favorite Mario games. Easy as hell, especially if you have the cape. You can just fly across anything, or with Blue Yoshi, it's just a breeze. But Super Mario World, great game. Love this game to death. And those are my 2 SNES games. I'm also going to get Super Metroid when I'm done with my current Metroid stuff. Okay, let's do the N64. Now there's 2 N64 games here that I have not played that I just recently bought. What's great is my comic store sells old video games, so I can just pick up the video games that I never got when I was younger. And GameStop has been doing a lot of buy 2 get 1 free sale, or 50% off sale on their old GameCube games and Xbox games. So I've just been picking up all those old games and been playing those for ridiculously cheap. Like, I got Perfect Dark Zero for $1. Whether it's a good game or a bad game, doesn't matter. I got it for $1. That was like a $40 game. But anyways, moving on. My first N64 game, Super Mario 64. Great transition over into 3D Mario. Fun game. Got all 120 stars in this. 100% complete. By the way, on these two games, I'm 100% complete also. Got all stars in this, and I did all the levels in this, with the exception of the D1, D2, D3, and D4 for lost levels. But other than that, I got it 100% complete. So got everything in this. Super Mario 64 will always keep a special place in my heart because it was my first N64 game, my first game for myself. I've always played my brother's games, so this was my first game for myself, and I just love it to death. It's a really fun game. Next games would be Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Undoubtedly one of the best Star Wars games, just for the pure fact that it's a classic game. Play as Dash Rendar, go through the Shadows of the Empire story. A little different, but still, it's fun, it's enjoyable, the levels are nice. I just wish there was more to the game, but it's a great game. Great Star Wars game, and also one of my first games. Oh no, not this game. Wait a minute, I'll tell you a story in a sec. Next game would be James Bond GoldenEye 007. When you say there's no such thing as a good movie game, I say, fuck you, there's GoldenEye. GoldenEye is a great game, and it really transitioned shooters, first-person shooters, onto the platform. Which brings me to something I'm going to say is they're re-releasing GoldenEye, updated and all this stuff on the Wii with a new story and stuff like that. And I am fucking excited for it because GoldenEye, many hours of my life has been sucked in by this game. So, as you'll see, there's a lot of James Bond games in my collection, some of which I have played and finished, some of which I haven't, because I bought 7 James Bond games in the past 2 weeks, building up to the new GoldenEye getting released. So you'll see, for some games I've already beaten, for some of them I'm playing right now. Actually, one of them I'm playing right now, I'm almost done. I'm just taking a break from video games at this second because I've been going like crazy this morning. So GoldenEye, great game, beat all the levels. I did use the cheats, but hey, half the fun. And it's a great multiplayer game. Unfortunately, it did not survive the test of time because if you put this up against any other first-person shooter, it's not going to work out that well. Whereas if you place something like Mario up against any other Mario game, it's going to be practically the same. But I can't wait for the new James Bond game, and as you'll see throughout my collection, I'm going to have a lot of James Bond games. Because I love James Bond, it's one of my favorite movie series. Which brings me to my next game, James Bond, The World Is Not Enough. Now this is one of the games I have not played. Well, I have played when I was younger over my friend's house a lot, but I bought it just recently. I need to get a game pack, one of these bad boys to save on it, so I haven't been able to play it. But I'm almost done with one of my James Bond games right now that I'm playing, and once I'm done, I'm going to jump on this. From what I remember, it was a pretty good game, so I can't really give you my full opinion, but World Is Not Enough. So that's one of the few games I have not played. Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Now, I have the whole Rogue Squadron trilogy, and out of all the Rogue Squadrons, this has to be my favorite. Although Rogue Squadron 2 is really good, too. Star Wars, I love Star Wars to death. You guys know this. Rogue Squadron is one of my favorite stories, comics, books, groups, everything. And this has a very special place in my heart because the best birthday I've had outside the ones that my girlfriend has thrown, because she threw us pretty good birthdays. The best birthday I had was I got this for my birthday, and I also got a Star Wars action figure, Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker with the Jabba the Hutt black tunic and everything. My favorite action figure I got for Star Wars at that time. It was a great birthday. But on the whole, the levels on this is great flight simulator. It's really overall fun. Really nice game. Really is a nice game. I recommend anyone to go and pick this up. A lot of unlockables, a lot of levels. Just plain flat out fun. Now we're getting into the wrestling games. Here we go. WrestleMania 2000. Probably the first good wrestling game. Spent a lot of hours on this game. Really like this game. I like how you create championships. The story mode sucks. For the time, it was good. Now it's very dated, but it was definitely the foundation for all the wrestling games today. So WrestleMania 2000, okay game. Set down. Which brings me to quite possibly the best wrestling game of all time. WWE No Mercy. Oh, this game was awesome. You could have your championship belt matches. You had one of the best storylines that could veer off into any direction. unlockables, updated graphics, tons of superstars. The creator wrestler was 10 times better. This was fantastic. This holds the test of time. This is a game I can pop in and enjoy as much as Raw vs. SmackDown 2010. This is a great game, fun, enjoyable. I recommend if you're a wrestling buff and you want to play some old retro games, there's nowhere better to go than this. Fan-fucking-tastic wrestling game. And the last N64 game is one that I just bought. I just got in the mail yesterday. Perfect Dark. Now, I got Perfect Dark Zero, as you've heard. I got it for very cheap. And I've always played Perfect Dark over at my friend's house, but I never owned it myself. So, I want to play through this. The only problem is I just popped it in. I can't find where to do the story mode. So, I have a question for you guys. To do the story mode, do I have to go and do all the challenges, or explain to me exactly how to access the story mode? I'm sure I could figure it out, but I'm really too lazy. So, please, if you could help me, let me know. But from what I remember, I only played multiplayer on this. I haven't played the story mode, so I'm eager to see what the story mode had. Multiplayer was good. It was pretty much GoldenEye with a few extra guns. That's really what it was, because the same people, Rare, did it, right? Yeah. So those are my N64. Let's move on to my handheld. Put those up here. Okay, might as well start off. You're not going to be able to see that well because I'm going to keep some of them in my case, but Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. Good game, good transition over onto the Game Boy. A lot of people love it. I love it too, but not quite as much as this game for the handheld. Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. This is probably my favorite handheld Zelda game, or at least one of them. Really fun, nice and long, a good story, very enjoyable, loved it. And then its counterpart, Oracle of Ages, not so good. It's a little bit more challenging, but it's just not as well balanced as the game. Actually, it's one of the weakest Zelda games. There are a few Zelda games that are fairly weak, and that's one of them. Not one of the Zelda games I would replay, but I played that and beat that. And I pretty much got most of the stuff in all three games. So good handheld Zelda games. Good handheld Zelda games. Which brings me to 2 copies of Pokemon Red version. Without a doubt, one of the best games for the Game Boy. Pokemon, I don't play it anymore, but Pokemon was a great game. All 150 Pokemon, all 151 Pokemon in this, including Mew. Red version was always my favorite. It had my favorite Pokemon in it. In addition to that, it has my favorite Pokemon on the front, Charizard. Charizard is the man, yes he is. Moving on to Pokemon Blue version, same thing. Great game. Not as good as Red version, but hey, you can't really be as good as the best. And then Pokemon Yellow version, the special Pikachu adventure. I didn't care for this as much as the other ones. I mean, the upgraded graphics were okay, but they tried to make it too much like a show. And that was kind of the intention, was to make it like the show, but I didn't really care for it. Okay, so let's see. Next would be Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, the Game Boy Advance version with the 4 swords. And I actually have 2 copies. One of them's my buddy's. He's letting me borrow it so I don't have to use mine. 100% complete in this. Every item, every heart, everything. Great game. One of the best Zelda games. Next would be Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap. Okay game, a little overrated. A lot of people like it more than they probably should. But still good Zelda game. I enjoyed it. The boss battles were really nice in it. Really nice. Metroid, the classic Metroid game. I'm still playing through this. I bought it more or less to pass time through, between classes. And obviously school's not going on right now. But I mean, this is a game that you can beat in like 30 minutes. So I'll get to that in a bit. Pokemon Red Fire version. I have all 386 Pokemon. Every Pokemon that you can get is in here. Mew, Deoxys, Lugia, my butthole, every Pokemon. Great updated version of the classic game. This is probably my favorite Pokemon game and also one of my last. This was a great game and it was a nice end to the series for me. Pokemon Green Leaf, same thing, pretty good game. I believe I have all the Pokemon in this too. Not as good as Red Fire, but yeah. Pokemon Emerald version, which is, I had Ruby and Sapphire, but I sold them to my friend. Emerald version was pretty good. It's just Ruby and Sapphire put together, from what I remember. Those were my last Pokemon games. I stopped playing Pokemon after. I remember exactly when I stopped playing Pokemon because I was in Ireland and I was playing Emerald version. And I just kind of said, well, this is going to be the end, and I stopped. I don't know why. Not that I lost interest. I just didn't care to play it anymore. And lastly, Super Mario 3. I have 3 on the Game Boy version. I got this before I bought All-Star off my friend. Super Mario 3, great Mario game. The only complaint I have with it, the levels are short. And lastly, my DS games. I bought the DS for one reason only. Zelda. That's it. Although I'm going to pick up some of the Mario games, like the new Super Mario and all that stuff. But for the DS, the Phantom Hourglass, a good game. I mean, it's a good start for the DS, but it wasn't perfect. It had its faults. I still liked it, but it pales in comparison to its sequel, which was the Spear Track. Far better improvement. Really one of the most enjoyable Zelda games for any kind of Game Boy system, handheld system. So those are my N64, my SNES, and my Game Boy handheld games. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move that stuff to the side, pause the video for a bit, and whip out the heavy gun. You know what I'm talking about, the fucking console games. Here we go.